Wow. Hey, Susan Bock here. Welcome to another edition of Fabulous Feature Friday. I'm so excited you're here today. Happy Friday. We have a red hot topic to talk about today. Red hot, no pun intended with my red chair here. This is a topic that's near and dear to every entrepreneur. May also cause you to break out in a sweat. Become very anxious. What is it? It's having a sales conversation with a prospective client. Now, if you're like me, I hate selling. That's a strong word, but I really do. I'm just not good at it. I don't like it. I don't like to be sold to, and I certainly don't like selling. But you can imagine that's a bit of a dilemma for a business owner. So I want to talk to you about today is sharing with you what I discovered in my process, how to get over the sales conversation or that icky sales feeling and actually have a meaningful conversation with a prospect. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let me go to the screen share here. There, how cool is that? Okay, can you relate? Can you relate to this person, this expression, this sensation that she has? I bet you can. We've all been there. Unfortunately, clients just don't magically appear. That would be nice if they did, and it would be wonderful if money just magically appeared in our account, our merchant accounts. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen either. There is a process that has to take place in order for us to have the income and the business that we want, that we dreamed of having when we started our business. And that includes clients and clients that are willing to pay us and the sales conversation. So today I'm going to share with you the 3 tips. Really, it's just 3 that I've learned that will help you get out of this icky, sticky sales conversation, so that you can attract more clients with ease and grace, with confidence and pleasantness. How's that? In other words, it's how to sell without selling. I want to start by asking 2 questions. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I love questions, that I am the queen of questions. That moniker was given to me by one of my clients several years ago, and I still hold it very near and dear to my heart because I do love questions. I am forever curious. So 2 questions that I want to ask you today to start with is, are you happy with your sales and current earnings? And do you get all sweaty and tense when it's time to ask for the sale? That was me. As I said, I'm not good at it. I didn't like it. However, the truth is that I really love to buy. Isn't that interesting? Don't like selling, don't like being sold to, and I love to buy. If I feel that someone is pushing something on me or engaging in a manipulative conversation with me to get me to their agenda, which is to buy something, even if I want that product or service, I'll walk away. That's just how strong my aversion is to selling. As I said, I don't like selling and I don't like being sold to. So imagine, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, working with heart-centered consultants, coaches, service providers, healthcare workers. Imagine how difficult it is, or it was for me, to have a vibrant, viable, lucrative business when I didn't want to have a sales conversation. What I wanted was to build easy rapport with someone. And I wanted them to have that strong know, like, and trust factor that we hear so much about in marketing conversations. And it was only after I had spent, I am embarrassed to say, tons of money, time, energy, and effort on all types of sales programs and sales conversations and buying scripts for sales conversations and how to close the sale and how to sell from the stage. All of these programs, some of which had some really helpful suggestions. However, they weren't me. They just weren't me. I was the ideal client for the people who were selling me those programs because I didn't know how to sell, or I didn't want to sell, or I didn't do it well. However, my clients are not the ideal client for them. So part of what I had to come up with was a conversational approach that would work well for my ideal clients, that brought me into the equation, that wasn't a script that I was reading. If I was in a phone conversation or a consultation, a discovery session, I wasn't reading a script. Because when I tried that, I stumbled over the words. I felt so inauthentic. It just made me feel slimy, honestly. So come up with these 3 steps. And that's what I want to share with you today. To create a system that works for you, following these 3 steps, you can do this. If I did it, you can certainly do it. And it's easy because what you're creating is a conversation that you're comfortable having. So you are much more at ease and comfortable, as is the prospect that you're talking to. How does that sound? Does that sound like a good plan? We only have a short time together today, so I'm going to have to kind of blast through this pretty quickly. I do want to give you as much as I possibly can in our time. So, as I said, coming up with a conversation or creating or crafting a conversation that was uniquely me. You hear me use that word unique frequently because each one of us is incredibly unique. We have a unique set of skills, of gifts, of talents, experiences, all of our history, everything we have experienced and engaged in has created this unique person that we are today. And truthfully, when you own that uniqueness, when you recognize your brilliance, as some people refer to it, or your genius zone, and you spend most of your time in that space, that zone, in your uniqueness, then you have no competition because there's no one else that's exactly like you. When you can incorporate that uniqueness, your unique sense of self and of being and of who you are and of the solutions you offer, you incorporate that into the conversation, then it becomes intimately yours. You own it. It's comfortable. You are at ease because you are being 100% yourself, in integrity, honoring your values, and showing up with all of who you are. So you're talking to this prospect from your heart, not from your head, not from a script, not from an agenda. If your intention in the sales conversation is to make a sale, then you probably don't need to listen anymore because that's not the focus of this discussion today. My invitation to you is that you shift from the word selling and replace that with helping. So if your purpose in the conversation is to help someone, to be of service, to provide value, to help them, that's a much more palatable position to be in because you are being of service. That's what I would invite you to consider. So let's go through these 3 steps that I have. The very first one might surprise you, and then again it may not, and that's to do the unexpected. There's a powerful word that each one of us experience, and that's called resistance. When we think that we are going to be sold to, if we are going into a conversation where we think someone might be attempting to manipulate us or influence us, we will show up with a reasonable amount of resistance. It's human nature. It's just as natural as blinking. That's what happens. We show up with resistance. When you do the unexpected, that resistance melts away. It just dissolves because you are not showing up as they expect you to. So what do I mean by doing the unexpected? In the conversation, I suggest that you start by using a framing process, if you will, and that is to describe your intention. Put the prospect at ease by letting them know your agenda, which is all about them, your intention for the conversation, and that is one of discovery. One of discovery. You're curious. You want to ask them questions that will give you insight, information, knowledge, to see if, in fact, their situation, their circumstances, the problem that they're attempting to solve, the obstacle or the challenge or the pain that they have, is something that, in fact, can be solved with the product or service that you're offering. So think of yourself as being curious, of being in the discovery. And how I do that, what works really well for me, as you might have already come to the conclusion of, is asking questions. Because I am naturally curious. I am curious about situations, about people, about behaviors, curious about what they've tried in the past and what hasn't worked for them or what has worked. Ask questions. So in setting up this framework, in making your intention clear, is the first thing you're going to do is ask for their permission to ask questions. 99.9% of the time, they will give you an affirmative. They will say yes. That's when you can move into the next series of questions. On the very rare occasion when someone says no, that's when you can withdraw from the conversation and say, appreciate your time, thank you for reaching out to me, and I look forward to being of service to you in the future. It's just that simple. You may have heard me in the past use the story of the shoe store, that analogy. You don't walk into a shoe store and up to the sales associate and ask them to give you a pair of shoes in your size and pay for the shoes and walk out the door. Quite the contrary. You might try several pairs of shoes on in your size, none of which fit, or they're not what you had in mind when you walked into the store, or they may not fit the particular outfit or need that you're looking for the perfect accessories to go with. Ask questions. Your solution, your product or service may not be the right one for them. That doesn't make it good or bad, right or wrong. There's no judgment here. It's just none of our programs or services are one size fits all. It's not only the program and service that you're offering or the product, it's also the relationship that you're creating with your prospect. Is it a good personality fit? Does it feel like it's a mutually beneficial situation? Do you enjoy working with them? So not only will you be asking them questions, but you're also going to be asking yourself questions as you go through this. So here are some examples of questions that you can ask. If you're in a sales conversation, if they have scheduled a free consultation with you or a free discovery call, you might ask them this. When you scheduled your call with me, what was the most pressing problem you had at that time? Follow-up question to that could be, has the situation changed, or is that what you would like to focus on today during our time together? If they are responding to an opt-in, for example, you might ask, have a pop-up question come up or in a follow-up question or conversation. What was the one idea or concept that triggered your thinking? And would you be willing to share that with me? That's one thing I like to do in my email campaigns is when someone is opted in, I have a pop-up that comes up with different scenarios to describe their situation. Ask them to check one of those, and then I can follow up with an email specifically to that situation or scenario and ask them to tell me more about it. So my ideal clients are telling me exactly what their problem is, what solution they are seeking, and it helps me craft the product or my next solution or my next offering in such a way that goes specifically to their need. Not what I think they need, what they're telling me they need. Also, the words they use, the phrasing, tremendous insight into your prospective client. General questions that you could ask. How long have you been struggling with this particular situation or problem or dilemma? What have you tried in the past that has not given you the desired result you seek? The point of these questions is to discover from them what they need, what they want, so that you can talk specifically to that need. It becomes very personal. It's one-on-one. Now, granted, you're not going to have a one-on-one conversation with every single prospect that you are encountering. However, you can have a similar conversation, as I mentioned earlier, through email or through your Facebook campaigns. Asking questions, listening for the solutions, the gems, the gold that your prospective clients will share with you. All right, let's go on to number 2, and that's to be an expert in your world. Actually, there's 3 levels of expertise that I want to touch on with you today. The first one is to be an expert on your niche clients, your ideal clients, the person that is your avatar, the one person that is the perfect person to receive your product or service. They have the exact problems that you've defined. They're in the pain. They want solution. They are willing to pay for the solution. Big one. So be an expert in your niche. That's number 1. And if you'd like to find out more about how to do that, please go to my website, susanbock.com. It's BOCK.com. Click on blog, and you'll see my April blog series, which was all about getting to know, becoming an expert on your niche. Really important. The second area of expertise is in your problem, what your solution is, what you are providing to your ideal clients, be it product or service, to be an expert within your industry. The third, not necessarily these are order of importance either, is to be an expert on yourself. That's to know you intimately. That goes back to that uniqueness of who you are, and to be willing to embrace all of that and share that with the world. This is such a valuable piece to have, because when you know what you're passionate about and that you monetize that passion in conjunction with the energy of yourself that you bring into the passion, to the product, and to the service, you are golden. And then there's no competition because there's no one who's doing it the way you are. This is so important to me that I've actually created a program around it, and it's called Monetize Your Uniqueness. And if you'd like to learn more about that, again, you can go to my website, susanbock.com, click on Let's Work Together, and you'll see Monetizing Your Uniqueness. We all are incredibly unique. Please keep that in mind. Not only are you unique, but your ideal clients are equally unique. And when we acknowledge that and can embrace that, and both of our lives will be enriched, because that's full acceptance of who we are and what we have to offer. So being an expert in your world, an expert in your product and services, an expert in your field or industry, an expert in your niche, expert in your avatar and yourself. That's the combination. The third step we are right on time, which is awesome, is to tell stories. You might have noticed in our conversation today, I've told you a couple of different stories about myself. We love stories. We particularly like stories that have a happy ending. That's totally awesome and totally cool. Happy ending. So tell stories. Not only stories about yourself, but also stories about your clients, other success stories that you've had, situations that perhaps are similar to the prospect that you're in conversation with, so that you're providing them social proof of the effectiveness, the results of your services and products. And it's not just you telling them about what it can do for them, it's you demonstrating through stories how others have benefited and achieved the results that your prospect is seeking. Also in stories, you're transferring almost a vision, if you will, ideas, information, to a part education, knowledge. It's an exchange. You are sharing with them part of what you have experienced as you've gone through your adventure called life, and how perhaps your experiences can be of benefit to the person that you're in conversation with. Now, here's the thing about selling. We're going to come full circle to this. This might surprise you. Every day you are in sales conversations. So you have the ability to do everything that I've just shared with you. If you're in a romantic relationship, you have sales conversations. If you have children, oh my gosh, you are masterful at the selling conversation, selling them on ideas on the next step, the action you're going to take, what you want them to do. You know how to have the conversation. It's just that when we start to put a price tag on it, and then when it becomes a product, our creation, our blood, sweat, and tears that we put this together, created, the idea of someone saying no thank you is just almost more than our ego can take. So we tend to perhaps not have the conversation or avoid the conversation where someone would possibly say no to protect ourselves. Again, human nature. However, you think of the number of times during the day where you actually have conversations with people, with friends, colleagues, with subcontractors, with vendors. You are effectively having a sales conversation with them because you have a specific result that you need, a solution that you want, a movie that you want to go see. And wouldn't you love to come see this with me? Because as you go through the scenario, the invitation. That's really what this is an invitation. When you can shift your mindset from the selling aversion to helping, you are providing solutions. You are assisting your ideal clients in stepping into the solution that will reduce their pain, anguish, struggle, strife, help them sleep better at night, have more peace and perhaps sense of security or peace of mind. You're giving them a solution. You are helping them overcome something that they cannot solve on their own. That's you sharing your gifts, your uniqueness with the world. It's an exchange. You are giving them value, and in return, they are giving you recognition, acknowledgement, financial gain, mutually beneficial. And that's when your clients, in adoration and appreciation, give you a giant thank you. Isn't that marvelous? Thank you. They're thanking you for, I'll say, not holding your gifts hostage. They're thanking you for sharing your solution your product, your service, your program with them so that their life is enriched, so that they can step into more of who they are. You are providing them with the opportunity to step out of the problem and into the solution. One last thing that I'd like to wrap up with. I'm going to post these also in the Facebook feed so you can see these. If you find that you're really struggling with this concept of sales conversation, or if you would like to find out more about how you can monetize your uniqueness, increase your sales, have happy, content, satisfied clients, I would invite you to schedule a free consultation with me. I call it my Enrich and Discovery call. So I'll put the link up where you can do that. I also mentioned the blog post that you can visit about becoming a know-it-all on your niche. I'll be sure to include that link. Also on my website, you will find a treasure trove of free resources, videos of previous articles and blog posts, of books, articles, just so many different things that are there for free. And it's all organized by topic in the resources tab to make it very easy for you to find the solutions that you're seeking. And again, if you'd like to learn more about my Monetizing Your Uniqueness program, it's susanbock.com/let's work together. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for another successful edition of Fabulous Feature Friday. I'm so delighted you were here. And until next week, have a uniquely beautiful week. Bye for now.